Steve Oldenburg. I've been a strength and conditioning coach for over 18 years, working with professional, collegiate, and youth volleyball especially. I've used the Vertec not only for our jumping sports, both volleyball and basketball, but also some of our hitting sports like tennis and sports like soccer. I went to college at Central Michigan University and I earned my Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science. I have a CSCS certification, which is a Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist with the NSCA. I also have a Fellow of Applied Functional Science from the Gray Institute. My job experience includes 11 years at the University of Illinois, including working with the USPV Grand Rapids Force professional volleyball team, at Pittsburgh Elite Volleyball Club, working with our youth athletes. I actually specialize a lot in looking at muscle imbalances and link tension testing and movement testing. I've published a book with Human Kinetics. It's complete conditioning for volleyball, and it's sold in 23 different countries all over the world. And so I guess a little bit of my specialty has turned into volleyball, strength and conditioning for our volleyball athletes. For our jumping sports, both volleyball and basketball, but also some of our hitting sports like tennis and sports like soccer. A lot of people kind of look at it and it's easy to correlate using the Vertec for a volleyball or a basketball athlete. If you jump higher, it's going to make you a little bit more proficient in your sport. But if you kind of look at vertical jump, it's really a measure of power output, which is how much force can you exhibit into the ground and how quickly can you do it. And that also relates to our accelerating and our cutting sports as well. And so you can really utilize the Vertec in really any sport where you jump, accelerate, or change direction. Most cases, if you're just using it in a sport or you're changing direction or accelerating, we're going to do just a regular standardized test, our standing jump test. And we can look at that and we can use it to see if the athlete is improving from our training throughout the year. A volleyball player and a basketball player, we can do the same thing, but we can also use it in a couple different ways. We can use it to see if the athlete is fatiguing throughout a practice or a season. So not only using it as a testing scenario for a maximum jump, but maybe setting up the Vertec in the middle or at the end of a practice to see can that athlete maintain that max jump throughout the session. Which a lot of times, if you think about it, in volleyball or in basketball, can you actually be the most explosive and the most athletic in the fourth quarter or the final set? Vertec we've really utilized for volleyball in my 18 plus years as a strength coach. It's very important. The terms are a little different if you look at volleyball. Our coaches, from their standpoint, they look at a standing jump as the block jump, and they look at a max jump as the approach jump. So those are the two jumps that we generally test. The one thing that we do look at not only is how high is the athlete jumping, are they improving as we're going through our testing season, but we can also look at from a standing jump to an approach jump. If there is a deficit in one of those, we can change that individual's programming to improve that specific jump. If you look at just the block jump or the standing jump, if it's mostly power type movement, so if we could increase the athlete's overall general strength using squatting type motions, we'll probably get an increase there. If you look at the approach jump, it's actually more a couple different variables. We have to look at one, is the athlete efficient with their actual form or their approach? Two, is the athlete getting enough pop off the ground? So we can use different exercises like depth jumps to improve that. Or is the athlete a little bit unstable when we put them in a single leg balance type incorporate different modalities of strength to then improve those specific measures from the Vertec. Yeah, the Vertec is really just a simple tool. It's very well made. In recent years, they've made some advances to it, adding wheels to it to make it more portable, adding the weighted bar to it to make it more stable. It's very easy to set up. You can set it up for the individual athlete really quickly, or you can set it up for a group as large as a football team and knock that out really quick as well. The standing reach, there's two different ways that I've actually measured this. One way is with the Vertec, and it's where you just stand right in front of it, reaching as high as you can, and then you just ask the athlete to move through it, touching as high as they can on the little tiles. The other way is to actually have a tape measure taped to a wall, and we're going to then have that athlete put the outside ankle bone on the wall, the hip on the wall, the shoulder on the wall, and then reach up as high as they can. I do like that one in respect to some of our hitting and throwing sports, because then as the tester, I can take the athlete's wrist and just stretch out the shoulder just a little bit. In the hitting and throwing sports, a lot of times due to repetition or muscle imbalances, you'll get a tightness in the shoulder, or you'll get a shoulder that loosens up considerably due to the motion. And this can happen in the beginning of the season, in the middle of the season, or at the end of the season, so that reach height is very variable with our hitting and throwing and swimming sports. So in general, I've used 4 over my time. A lot of times the athlete does not get too much higher after their 4th jump. Occasionally on their 4th jump, we've actually given athletes like a bonus jump. And if they actually touch the tile, because that means they might have just a little bit left in them. If we do that though, whatever protocol that we set up, we just want to keep that the same throughout our testing period. And so if you have a preseason, mid-season, postseason test, and you choose to do 3 jumps, 4 jumps, 5 jumps, you want to keep that the same throughout that whole testing season.